everybody, and welcome back to the Up the Guts podcast. Joining as always is your host, Trent Dialton, and it is the preview tips and predictions episode part of the show. Obviously, if you haven't already, make sure you go back and make sure you go back and watch the review of the last round 8, where I went over everything. Now this, as I mentioned, is the preview and predictions show. So this is where I'll give all my tips and make sure I enter my tips this time. We don't want that ever happening again. And we'll go over how the Up the Guts footy tipping competition is going, how everyone's ranking, and then I'll give my tips and predictions. But if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like and comment on this video, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss me upload, and hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to this via streaming platforms, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it whenever we upload. Hit that follow button, and most importantly, please make sure you leave a 5-star rating, as that does help push the show out there for more listeners, bringing in more people, and then so I can keep providing more content for you guys. But without further ado, let's get in to see how the Up the Guts tipping competition is looking after round 8. So as we have a look now, in the first place in the Up the Guts tipping competition, we have Glenn, which is my dad, who is on top. He got 7 right last round. He's on 52. In second place on 51 is my brother Corey. He's moved up. In third and fourth, both on 50 points, we got Della and my mum Wendy. But also in equal fifth is Dos Miller, also on 50, Aiden. In sixth place, 6, 7, and 8 are all on 49. So starting with Chris in sixth, he's gone up. Seventh is Will, and eighth is Logan. And then we have a look, and ninth is Hodgie, who's gone down. 10th and 11th are all both on 47 points. So that is Zach, who has gone down. JD Hawks fan has made his way up the ladder. Elaine is in 12th on 46. In 13th on 45 is Liam Drew, Big Pistol. 14th is Connor. He has jumped me. He's gone up a spot on 44. I'm also on 44 in 15th. Tommy Sins is in 16th on 40. And Basti is in 17th on 35. So that's how the Up the Guts tipping competition. Now let's get into, so that, as you can have a look at that, Glenn is leading there. But now let's get into my tips and predictions going into round 9. Let's go. All right, so now as I loaded up there, the first match we're starting off with is Fremantle v Collingwood at Optus Stadium Thursday night at 8:10 p.m. Now, we already know, as we are recording this on Tuesday, as I just have a little swig of water, apologies. We're recording this on Tuesday, and as of Tuesday morning, it was rumoured that Collingwood would rest some players after only having a 5-day break and the travel. And it is confirmed today that Collingwood will rest Scott Pennebury, Jordan Goey, Brody Mychek, and Braden Maynard. So Jordan Goey hasn't been looking at his best anyway, so that's not going to hurt. But I think Scott Pennebury's been really good form. Brody Mychek, up forward, was exceptional last week, hitting the 4 goals and taking some really clutch marks, even though they didn't get the win. And Braden Maynard, as a lockdown defender, probably would have got the job on probably, now that I think about it, he probably would have the job on Bolton, I reckon. But he is, so those 4 will miss out. As for Fremantle, we know we've been reported that Hayden Young will miss the rest of the season now with that hamstring injury. He went under the knife for surgery this week. So that is not good signs for the Freo Dockers, but they will be looking to respond. They were really, really poor last week against the Saints. But I want to say 70 points, or just about 70 points they went down by. They'll want to look to respond at Optus Stadium. Collingwood, obviously, without a couple of key players there, but I think the interesting battle was going to be in the ruck. Darcy Cameron, Luke Jackson, up against Luke Jackson and Sean Darcy. And the midfield battle is going to be really interesting. We already know when they're on. They were kept quiet last week, but the likes of Sarong, Brayshaw, can do. I'm going to be backing Collingwood in this one, obviously, as I do barrack for Collingwood. I'm going to be backing Collingwood in this one, and as I go to my ESPN footy tips app, I want to enter my tips. So I'm going to be back in the Pies in this one as we just wait for this to load. But I just think they get it done with a bit more class. They were stiff not to win on on Saturday night against the Cats. A couple of decisions didn't go their way, and I think they're one of the better teams in the competition. They currently sit second on the ladder, and Fremantle currently sits ninth. So I'm going to be going the Pies, but I'm only going to be going the Pies. I'm going to go by 17 points. Now we move down to Friday night, and I think this could be actually a good game. It's St Kilda v Carlton, but it's a St Kilda home game, but it's at the MCG, so it's a bit stranger territory than the Saints would be used to for their home games. It's 10th versus 13th. Carlton were also poor last week against Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval, suffering a huge defeat. And St Kilda, as I mentioned before, smashed Freo at Marvel. I think this will be a really interesting game. It's a really hard one because like Wilkie and Caminiti will probably get the Curnow Mackay job through the midfield. I think that's where the Carlton could get on top is through the midfield. Cripps, Hewitt, Chera, you name it, they're through there. Blake Acres off a wing. And then the likes of Curnow down back. Wiedering will probably get the... Who's Wiedering going to get? He'll probably have to get Cooper Sharman. I think there's a likelihood he could teach Cooper Sharman a lesson. Cooper Sharman was really good last week. Kicked the 4, but I'm really like the way the Saints are playing, but I'm going to be back in the Blues purely because it's at the MCG and the Saints don't play there as much. They're used to being under the dome, but so I'm going to be going with the Blues in that one. Not by much, though. Then we move over to our Saturday games, and first off, kicking it off, is Melbourne v Hawthorn at the MCG, 1:20 p.m. Now, lots been going on in Melbourne. We saw Max Gawn have one of the games to remember, one of the best games of his career. Clayton Oliver has been leaked that he says he's come out and said he wants to move on as of next season. And Hawthorn had a convincing win over Richmond as expected. And I think the speed of Hawthorn will just be too quick, too good and too quick for the Melbourne Demons. Hustwaite coming in has been really well. Obviously, with Connor Nash out, I'm interested to see if he's able to keep his spot because I think he's really good. So when Nash comes back in, will he be the first to go or will it be more like a Josh Ward or something? And I think the forward line of Ginnivan has been exceptional since coming back in. Jaff was really good off the half-back line last week after coming back in the side, having a career-high 32 disposals. Nick the Wizard Watson in that forward line. Marvia Chol pops up here and there and proves an effect, but Jack Gunston is in absolute... He could arguably be one of the best key forwards of the last 3 to 4 weeks, just through consistency base and consistently hits the scoreboard. We know what Jai Newcomb does through that midfield. James Warple and the likes. Connor McDonald coming back in, I think, has added a really good element to their game. Runs hard off that half-forward line and consistently hits the scoreboard. Obviously, 27 goals last year was a breakout season for Connor McDonald. But the one player who's been really good these last 2 weeks as well is Josh Battle, obviously coming across from St Kilda. He's been exceptional. Had 33 disposals last week and was just intercepting everything and uses the ball beautifully. So I'm going to be going with the Hawks to really... I think they will get the job done pretty comfortably. It's going to be an interesting battle in the ruck. They really rate Lloyd Meek, but he's coming up against a different beast in Max Gawn. Could he try and outpower Max Gawn? We know Meek's a big body. Max Gawn is too, but Meek's really, really strong and really solid. So could he try and outmuscle Gawn? That's one way I think he could get on top of it. But it's not only Max Gawn in the ruck, it's Max Gawn's work around the grounds, his clearance work, the ability to push back behind the ball and to push forward and take those intercepting cluck marks and the marks in the forward line. So it's going to be a tough job there for Lloyd Meek, but I am going to be going with Hawthorn. Then at 4:15 p.m. at Marvel Stadium, it's Essendon v Sydney Swans, and this could be an interesting game. It's 11th v 14. It is at Marvel. Sydney Swans got the job done in the Derby over the Jedward's Giants, the Battle of the Bridge. It looked decent, reasonably well. Their forward line and defence is still in question. While their forward line key forwards at the moment are as of last week, are Joel Hamling and Aaron Francis. There's always going to be big questions about that. But one thing they'll be lucky with is that Jordan Ridley has gone down, and they won't have to deal with him. But Zach Jones. I was thinking of Harrison Jones and Zach Reid at the same time. Zach Reid's been in phenomenal form, and we know Ben Mackay just does his role. Probably goes a little bit underrated. He's constantly the whipping boy for the Bombers because of the contract he came across on. But he's just recently been doing his job. Nothing like going wow, but he was never really that wow. He's just a lockdown defender. Takes the number one forward and has been quietly decent. Started off scratchy in the first few weeks of the season, I believe, but starting to pick up a little bit of form. But Zach Reed's the one who's really come on leaps and bounds. Struggled to get his body right early in his career. Now that he's got his body right and they're just giving him games, he just keeps getting better and better and better. I'm interested to see when they play Lewis Hayes, though. He just absolutely dominates it at VFL level. Looks really good. A key defender, intercepts the ball. Was picked up a couple of years ago from the Eastern Rangers. So it'll be interesting to see when they do it. Could this be the time where they bring in a Lewis Hayes to replace Jordan Ridley for his debut? It could be something they could consider, but the midfield battle, I think, is going to be really interesting too. I expect Sam Durham to either go to Warner or Heaney in a head-to-head battle, and could be the outcome of the game. They'll probably... I had this discussion in the group chat last Sunday. Warner, because Toby Bedford, before he was taken out by Lewis Melican, who has copped the 3 weeks, so they will be without another defender there. Before Bedford was taken out, he was on Warner, and I posed the question, Warner or Heaney, was Warner the right choice? And person chat, former co-host Connor, and I agree, said Warner because you cut, it's better... Warner's run, if you cut that, is more damaging, more valuable if you cut that down rather than Heaney. Heaney's going to do his thing. Has not been at his 2024 form, but he's still been solid and hits the scoreboard. But it's Chad Warner's run who's just starting to build into the season too. Probably had a couple of lean weeks, but now is starting to build into the season. And his run and carry is what sets up the Sydney Swans, and without the likes of Errol Goulden there is something they probably rely on. Justin McInerney looked good, spending a bit more time in the midfield. I didn't mind seeing that. But, yeah, I think Sam Durham will either go to Chad Warner or Heaney. I'm expecting Warner, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Heaney too. Zach Merritt's in Brownlow contention form. Nick Martin will play that half-forward line. Dylan Shields has been good since moving into the midfield from half-back. Just didn't work down half-back, but I think he's been really good through the midfield. And one player I want to highlight is, I know his first name, but what's his last name? Archie Roberts. There you go, Archie Roberts. He's been really good coming to his second or third season, playing off that half-back line, uses the ball beautifully, gets plenty of the ball, and makes good decisions. So he's one I really like the look of. But I'm going to be going Essendon purely because it's at Marvel, and I just can't trust the Swans to kick a winning score with Francis and Hamling as your two key options. And without Papley in there, it puts a lot of pressure on Will Hayward, in my opinion. So for that reason, I'm going to be going with Essendon. Then we go over to Saturday night, and starting off 7:35 p.m. It's the return of the Darwin Suns. Now, we saw them leak their jersey that they're going to be wearing. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. So it'll be Gold Coast and the Bulldogs. I think it could be a really good game, but if there's something we have learned is that Gold Coast do not lose in Northern Territory. So for that reason, I'm going to be going with the Gold Coast Suns. But it's going to be a really interesting battle, especially, I keep saying this, but through the midfield. Rao, Anderson, Miller, Humphrey when he goes in there up against Treloar, Bontempelli, Liberatore, Fraser, Richards, you name it. There's a couple of people that run through there. Matt Kennedy as well. Sam Flanders, the Gold Coast Suns. So I think it's going to be a really good midfield battle. I think that's if for the team to win it, that's where it's going to be won. We'll be interested to see how the forward line structure up. Obviously, Gold Coast Suns have a reasonably tall key forward and key back line. So we see if they can expose the likes of the key defence down in the Bulldogs. It's something they could look at trying to expose, get the ball in there quickly, get it in high, and try and expose the likes of James O'Donnell. I don't think Liam Jones hasn't been brought back into the side as of yet. The new Jed Busslinger, they could try and expose them with the likes of Ben King, Ethan Reid, Jed Walter, but I don't know if the three-headed monster's working. I really like the look of Ethan Reid, but can you play three of them all at the same time? It's just a question that I pose. I'm not too sure on that one, but I'm going to be going with the Gold Coast. Being in the Northern Territory, they just don't lose, as I've labelled in the Darwin Suns. And it's a double-header on Saturday night, and it's the showdown. Now, it's always good with the showdown. It's Port Adelaide v Adelaide. Both teams always get up for that. It's going to be an absolute massive battle. Now, this three-headed forward line is the one that's working. I think the likes of Fogarty, Walker, and Thorthorpe and Curtin is working. I still think Curtin's playing in the wrong position. I think we saw him as in his under 18 years and in the Sandful play at halfback. I think in the future, that's where Daniel Curtin will play his best footy. You can see he's got some really good hands, reads the play really well. I just don't think he looks comfortable enough as a forward. I'd like to see him go back and play the intercept and defending role. I know they've got Michelini down there. I know they've got Worrell down there. But I'd just like to see, for a couple of weeks, I would like to see Daniel Curtin go behind the ball and just see what can happen. That's just something. But Isaac Rankin's in magnificent form. I really liked how they played Jordan Dawson last week, a bit more off half forward, and then put him in the midfield when they needed him. Because when you got Isaac Rankin in there, you don't really need Jordan and Dawson. I got Isaac Rankin, Jake Saligo, Josh Rochelle, who started to run through there a bit more. Matt Crouch, when he's in there, they've just got the lights. And Michelini's spending a bit more time up the ground at 27 disposals last week. So for this showdown, I'm actually going to be going with the Adelaide Crows. I think they get the job done over Port Adelaide. But if it's going to be one, it's going to be off the back of Zach Butters. And purely for it being a showdown, last year's showdown medalist was Jake Saligo. So if I was to pick a showdown medalist, I think this stage is set for Isaac Rankin to win the showdown medal. So there's my tip. Adelaide Crows and Isaac Rankin to win the showdown medal. Now we go across over to Sunday. We've got 3 games to round out round 9, which is on Sunday. And geez, we got the Battle of the Kids to start off. 1:10 p.m, the MCG. It's Richmond versus West Coast. Now, the Tigers just get this done, don't they? There's not much really to talk about this one. It'll be, I don't know if it'll be that great viewing, but I don't see West Coast betting Richmond at the MCG. So I'm going to be going with the Tigers there to get it done. And I'm going to say they're going to get it done by about 20 points. Now, GMHBA Stadium is the Cats v the Giants. And the Giants have been so disappointing the last few weeks. Lost a couple in a row now. We'll be disappointed with how they started the Derby or Derby, whichever one it is, against Sydney's last week. Letting in the first 5 goals of the game, just really put them on the back foot early. They did come back, but at the end of the day, if they didn't let those and were more focused on the ball rather than just fighting, maybe it could have been a different story. But it wasn't to be, and Geelong looks slick. Bailey Smith coming into Geelong has really changed it, and Patrick Dangerfield shows that he can still be that injection into the midfield when it needs to be, with absolutely phenomenal 13 disposals and a goal in the last quarter to guide his team over the line against Collingwood last week in controversial standards, may I say. But I'm going to be going with Geelong purely at home. I don't think they drop a game there. Then the last game of the round, it is North Melbourne v Brisbane, and we go over to Bloodstone Arena in Hobart for this one. Now, we know North don't mind playing at Hobart, and it's unusual territory for Brisbane. But Brisbane are on top of the ladder. They're the reigning premiers, and I think even though it's at Hobart, I think Brisbane just get it done. They get it done convincingly. I'm expecting a 10-plus goal victory here. North have just been disappointing. They've got close, but they just can't finish the job. And if they couldn't finish the job against Essendon, I don't see me valuing a reason why they could do the job against Brisbane. Brisbane will just be too classy through the midfield with Neil, McCluggage, Bailey, who pushes through there, Dunkley. Cameron found some form again last week, Charlie Cameron kicking 3 after being really down. Harris Andrews will get the job on Nick Larkey, so Nick Larkey has his job cut out there. So I just think the Brisbane Lions will be way too classy and get the job done by 10-plus goals. Well, there you have it, guys. There are my tips and predictions for round 9. Let me just go over them quickly. Thursday night, I've got Collingwood by 17 points. Friday night, I'm tipping Carlton. I think it'll be a really good game between Carlton and St Kilda. Saturday, I'm tipping the Hawks over Melbourne. Sunday, I've got Saturday 4:15, I got Essendon. Saturday night, first game, I got Gold Coast over the Dogs. Then in the showdown, I have got Adelaide with Isaac Rankin for the showdown medal. Then Sunday, I've got Richmond over the Eagles, Cats over the Giants, and the Brisbane Lions over the Kangaroos. Well, that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and comment on this video. Turn on notification bell so you don't miss an upload on all your streaming services, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or you're watching this on YouTube. It's exactly the same. But if you are on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening to this via your streaming services, make sure to hit the follow button and leave a 5-star rating, as that does help get the show out there. Thank you guys for listening. And until next time, I'll see you guys then.